of 20 economically strongest countries is set to replace the G8 as the main coordinating body for global financial issues. Well, that's according to a draft communique adopted by the leaders gathered for a two-day summit in Pittsburgh. RT's correspondent Oksana Boyka joins us now live from the US. Oksana, realistically, does this now mean that the meeting of the G20 will be any different to the previous ones?
Well, Alice, one thing for sure is that the atmosphere at this year's summit, at least for G20 leaders, is far more relaxed and laid back than it was last April in London. Some G20 countries are already showing modest signs of recovery, and leaders tend to think that the crisis turned out to be far less catastrophic than it was initially predicted. In the draft communique that you just mentioned, they pledged to keep stimulus packages in place until a recovery is secure, and they also seem to have reached an unexpected progress on the issue of the IMF reform. We still don't know how this power distribution will be carried out, but initially it was proposed that the European Union, which currently accounts for 40% of votes at the IMF, and the United States, which makes up 17% of votes at the IMF, will lose some of these votes in favor of emerging countries such as China, Russia and India. Now, there is also seem to be some consensus reached on a controversial issue of bankers' payments. The French delegation have been pushing really hard for the introduction of some sort of curbs on bonuses to bankers, but right now we still don't know whether they have managed to come up with some limit, but they did agree that these bank payments should be linked to a long-term value creation rather than excessive risk-taking.
So, Oksana, talk us through what's happening in Pittsburgh. What's happened so far?
Well, the first day of the summit was all about smiles and handshakes for the leaders. They gathered for a sumptuous dinner yesterday with their spouses, which gave them a wonderful opportunity to show their evening gowns. This is one of the issues that local papers have been talking about today. But for the protesters, it was all about tear gas and clashes with the police. Authorities here in the United States have been trying to make sure that we don't see a repeat of last April clashes in London, but it seems that these didn't happen. We witnessed violent clashes with the police.